Nigerian police is coming from somewhere and say, please, we need you to give us this footage. If Nigerian police say it's a murder that was caught on this server, they will give it to them, but nobody else can get it. Nigerian police has not requested for that footage.
Dr. Kemi,
September 2023, Nimotin suffered police pé kàn lọ request
so
footage.
police nìkan ló lè gba iCloud Mohbad right now as we are standing here.
Àwọn nìkan náà lè gba footage lọ́dọ̀ Apple.
Ó mà ṣe o, ó mà ṣe.
Àwọn tó ní footage yẹn wọ́n ti delete lórí phone ni. One Ayobami person, or spending, I don't know the names, but any Nicoloni password iCloud.
He had a login
the phone
as well.
was with Wumi, and then Wumi gave the phone to the mother. Then Wumi went back to the mother's house to steal the phone. According to Abosede, in her Punch interview, Wumi came to steal, not to get the phone, to steal the phone back. So gbogbo yẹn ti lọ. So gbogbo nǹkan tó wà lórí iCloud server gbogbo yín ó máa wà ńbẹ̀ until tẹ́nìkan bá delete it, but ó ṣì wà nínú Apple server. This is how the Biyomi case was dismissed. Okay.
Dr. Kemi Olunloyo jáde tán lórí ọ̀rọ̀ justice for Mohbad. Wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní tú ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn àṣírí kan tó farasin lórí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí. Tẹ́ bá ń gbọ́ pé ejò lọ́wọ́ nú ọ̀rọ̀ justice for Mohbad gan ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ torí pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn alágbára kan wà nídìí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí tí wọ́n sì fẹ́ kí òdodo ọ̀rọ̀ kókòdoro ọ̀rọ̀ fojú hàn lórí ikú tó pa Mohbad. Wọ́n sì ń sọ nípa ọ̀rọ̀ footages. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan ni màmá yìí mẹ́nubà nínú fọ́nrán tí mo mú wá yìí. Ẹ̀yin èèyàn mi ṣe rí fọ́nrán yìí, a lot of secrets ó wà embedded sínú fọ́nrán eléyìí tí mo mú wá fún yín. Kò kí ń ṣe fọ́nrán tí ẹ kàn máa fọwọ́ yẹpẹrẹ mú torí pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn àṣírí sodo sínú ẹ̀. Mo fẹ́ kẹ́ bá mi farabalẹ̀ wo fọ́nrán yìí, kẹ́ gbọ́ gbogbo àlàyé, gbogbo àwọn analysis tí Dr. Kemi Olunloyo ṣe nínú fọ́nrán eléyìí tí mo mú wá yìí. Torí tẹ́ náà bá wò náà ẹ rí pé ọjọ́ ń gorí ọjọ́, oṣù ń gorí oṣù, bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ́dún ti ń gorí ọdún sí. Lórí ọ̀rọ̀ justice for Mohbad yìí, ǹjẹ́ jẹ́ mọ̀ pé Mohbad ṣì wà ní mọ́ṣúárì níbi tí wọ́n ẹ̀ bá ọmọ ẹ̀ sí nínú yìnyín tí wọ́n ti sin ọmọ yẹn, látàrí pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn ń gbìyànjú láti rí dájú pé wọ́n rí ìdájọ́ òdodo gbà fún kó tó di pé wọ́n lọ sí. Ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀. Ẹ wo, ẹ má jẹ́ ń sọ̀rọ̀ jù, ẹ jẹ́ ń gbé fọ́nrán ẹ̀ wọlé kẹ́yìn náà fún alára yín kẹ́ wá gbọ́ gbogbo nǹkan tí Dr. Kemi Olunloyo ṣe tó ń sọ nínú fọ́nrán eléyìí tí mo mú wáyé kó tó di pé mo gbé yín débẹ̀ ajá àbálẹ̀ lọ́dọ̀ tí wọ́n ń bì náà lẹ́tí lórí ọ̀fẹ́ láti máa gbọ́. Àmọ́ fún àǹfààní ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ṣe ń darapọ̀ mọ́ wa fúngbà àkọ́kọ́ tẹ́ ò tí ì follow wa àbẹ́ ò tí ì subscribe, ẹ bá ń tẹ follow button tàbí subscribe button tí ń bẹ nísàlẹ̀ fọ́nrán yìí. Aago kélébé kan náà bẹ́ẹ̀ notification bell ni wọ́n ń pè é. Òun gangan ni ó máa ta yín lólobó ní gbogbo ìgbà kúùgbà tàbá ti ń ju fọ́nrán sórí ìlàyé. Láì wá dé ìnà pẹ́nu, ẹ jẹ́ ń sáré gbé yín débẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ kan. Ẹ má yí kú omi.
Àròyé TV rèé ẹ láìkì ẹ subscribe kẹ́ sì máa follow.
Òkèláwà téńté.
Major investigative journalist. We have Kabiru Adejumo at Home Angle. He does human angle stories. We have Fisayo Shoyombo. Fisayo did not pick it up. Even David Honde, okay, he's, doing investigative journalism as well. He's annoying a lot of people, but even David didn't take that case. All the major private investigators that I know in Nigerian police, SARS, these guys were SARS officers that worked with Abba Kyari. After Kyari was arrested, many of them went to the STS and the IRT. And anyone that knows STS knows the Special Tactical Squad and IRT. These are the really hard cops that their lives are on the line. Many of these guys left the police and they live there. I mean, these guys live in danger zones. They can face anything. They declined to do Mohbad's case when Mohbad's father's lawyer, the Odumosu guy, Taiwo Odumosu, when he asked them to come into this case. Do you know what one of them told me? He said,
University
family is very important to me. They will kill my family. And I don't want anything to happen to my family. This is how scared this man was to get into Mohbad's case. Mohbad's case is bigger than everything you are talking about here. Now, One thing is that every single live video that I've done on TikTok that I just bumped into, I usually bumped it. Okay. Some of us are in places where the monetization of TikTok doesn't even exist. It's only 6 countries for all I know. US, UK, and all that. The Karimo lady was in the US. The Bookie Jesse was in the UK. Those guys were making serious money. But I will come on these live shows and my presence will make it very viral for them. That's not what I come to do. And it's like people are just discussing. Get to the point. Know what is going on behind this. Whenever someone is killed in Nigeria, and it's a very major story, the president tweets about it, or the Nigerian police force, or Amnesty International Nigeria. They have tweeted about all the women, Oster, Celine and Afiba, name it, even some of the guys that SARS killed. But notice none of them have tweeted about Mohbad. The president did not speak about Mohbad, a major artist that was entertaining Nigerians. Anytime we have Grammy Awards, Grammy nominations, the president speaks about all those artists, the nominated ones, the winners and all. The presidency has not spoken about Mohbad. Amnesty Nigeria has never tweeted about Mohbad, urging the police to solve. And the police themselves, they've only tweeted about Mohbad's case when they put their team together for autopsy, for toxicology, for everything. What I did was the same thing I do. When I see an investigation, okay, first thing I want to say, every time I come on TikTok, I'm speaking in Yoruba because everybody's on these Yoruba shows, Yomi Show and everybody. But this is the first time I'm going to really speak in English so everybody can understand because we're in different time zones. So most of you here might be in America. What we did, okay, and I say we, I hired 4 young interns. They're mass communication students. I took every single penny I had in Facebook, in YouTube, all my platforms. When I left Nigeria, I got a lot of money from Facebook, from some of my videos because I left Nigeria. So when you're in the US zone, I went to US initially. You see all this money, it was surprising. But I took all this money that I should have taken a vacation with and I put it to this investigation. I spent money, my life savings. And this is the thing about investigative journalism that's making me leave. On Saturday the 9th, it will be 31 years, and that's my last day on this job. I end my news career in 3 days. But going back to Mohbad, going back to Mohbad, I'll give you a timeline. On September 11th, somebody called me in the industry that something happened to Mohbad last night. I was the first to post it. I said, I'm very upset right now. I just heard something. Somebody died, but I can't see anything. And it's in the industry. Everybody remembers that post. When they saw that I posted something about a death in the industry, they quickly sent an advert to Instablog Niger that Mohbad has been hospitalized for an ear infection and he died. Iyabo Ojo paid for that advert. There's a paper trail. There's a big, huge paper trail. Iyabo Ojo was called by Wumi when this thing happened, and she was in that house. Okay, do me a favor, Paparino. I know those. How do you know this? Then they showed the picture of a nurse saying that Mohbad came in sick and that he looked like they put juju on him. They were treating him for malaria. Remember that fake video we saw? After that, Daddy Freeze called me. I went live with Daddy Freeze. I said it's possibly related to drugs, but we don't know yet. Let's keep hearing. On the 12th is the day they have for Mohbad's death. Mohbad did not die on the 12th. I've told this to Yomi over and over. Mohbad died on the 11th. I interviewed 5 people in Mohbad's house and street. People that interviewed with me, Dr. Kemi Olunloyo, Darukomio. It takes a lot. as an investigative journalist, I was trained in this beat. When I interviewed 6 people at Darwin College, I came up on March 22nd and I said the father is negligent. This child was not beaten or killed by anybody. They put my phone number, my address, they bullied me. I left Nigeria. At the end of the day, 2 years later, what did that inquest say? The inquest said the father was negligent. I know this job. The 5 people that I interviewed inside Mohbad's house and street, 3 were in that house. It's a total of 14 people living in that house. The whole music team was there. And 2 were on the streets. The neighbors on the streets told me Mohbad was already dead before the nurse arrived. Everybody was crying outside. Mohbad died in the house. The nurse came to a dead body and tried to revive Mohbad. They lied upon the nurse at the news conference. A case that happened close to 2 years ago, September 2023, the police has only updated the public one time in almost 2 years. The CP at the time, Owonha, had a press conference.
Can I chip in with a quick question there?
Sure.
So, daughter, because she said
no, you can't ask that question because I'm on a real big train of thought. I'm giving you a timeline.
All right, go on.
After the timeline, then ask me those questions.
All right.
Owonha had a news conference, okay? Before Owonha had the news conference, remember 12th is the day that they said, he's officially dead because he was dropped off on a Okada. They were in a car. We saw a video in the car. And when Mohbad had a contraction in his neck, they quickly switched off the video. Okay? That muscle contraction in his neck doesn't mean he was alive. He was already dead. If you kill a cow, muscle might still be moving. But when they brought him into the hospital, they planned several distractions. They planned somebody who would post on social media to say, I saw Mohbad in the hospital. I snapped with him. Did you hear that part? Where somebody said they saw Mohbad and they snapped with him. It never happened. When he was brought in dead, DOA, that's what we call in America, dead on arrival, they gave them a death certificate. Now, when they gave them a death certificate, I've interviewed Perez, I've interviewed everybody. When they give them that death certificate, the next thing is to take the body to a mortuary. You cannot take a body without a death certificate to the mortuary. That death certificate was with Wumi. Wumi refused to give that death certificate to Mohbad's father. She held on to it. Wumi's mother, these are not allegations, I investigated him. Wumi's mother, a former top cop, made phone call on September 12th, brought in death certificate. While Wumi held on to the death certificate, the mother made phone calls to the DPO in Ajah. Okay, I lived in Ajah. I was the one responsible for changing the entire police station after the death of 2 people, the female lawyer and the young man. So I called the DPO. She had already influenced him as a police officer that they must not give Joseph Aloba a police report. One of his assistants, I won't mention names, somebody in that police station told me, because of a reason. Okay, the daughter is holding the death certificate. The mother is saying they shouldn't give a police report. So they got to the Ikorodu mortuary and they wouldn't take the body. Aloba now told them to go and bury the boy. No one's going to keep a dead body in their house. So the whole of Nigeria was there with the misinformation. Misinformation spreads fast. You saw what happened in London with the boy that stabbed the 3 girls. Misinformation can destroy the world. But with that misinformation, people were saying, why did Aloba quickly bury his son? Why did he do that? It was not Aloba that quickly buried his son. He had no choice. They refused to give him the birth certificate. They refused to give him a police report. So he went and buried his son. But because of Yoruba tradition, he's not allowed to see the body and all. So he put Darosha and Adura in charge of that whole thing. They took Mohbad somewhere. They shaved his head, and the man told me on my interview, I interviewed Aloba on Instagram Live. He told me he doesn't know why they shaved the boy's head. Mohbad had a broken neck. His neck was broken visibly in that casket, but people were saying they brought a short casket. No, his carotid artery in his neck was busted like a balloon. Either he was strangled or he fell or somebody stabbed him in the neck. That's the first thing I saw. Now, I called the police. I made several calls. Of the people that worked for me, these interns were living in Aja and Songotedo. When I sent them to the inquest in Ikorodu, that's 25,000 for the Uber, back and forth. I paid a lot of money. I know Wolori case Mohbad, and it was my money. At the end of the day, what happened next was the 15th of September. The NDLEA called me. The DSS called me. And there was two reasons why they did that, because Yabo and Tonto had taken over the investigation. And they were now the investigative journalists. Yabo was posting, if you have any information, call me, blah, blah, blah. What they were doing was they were raising money for the widow. Okay, these people don't really have real jobs. Tonto doesn't have any real job. All they do is this foundation and they raise money. So at the end of the day, they were raising money for the widow. And they were also defaming Chairman Marwa. And I was an NDLEA volunteer for 2 years. So Baba Femi called me and told me that, do I remember the interview that I did with Cool FM with regards to the NDLEA raid? I said, yeah, I have it. I have it here. They needed that interview. The reason they needed that interview was because I also had a video of Wumi coming out of the Marlian house about to attack an NDLEA officer. And Sheyi Mohbad's manager was calling her, trying to stop her. Wumi, stop, Wumi, stop. I had that exclusive video. So why did the NDLEA need me? Because they needed a timeline around that. And this is the reason when I do videos, I put my date and time. Authentication. If you don't authenticate your footage at that time, it can cost you a lot of money later. So I authenticated that video. I had the timestamp on it, February of 2022, everything. The people that were arrested that night did not include Mohbad. Mohbad and Wumi got away. When they were pushing them into the van, they got away. The very next day after that raid, I messaged Naira Marley in Sweden on WhatsApp. And I said, Naira, get on the plane and come home. They raided your house and everybody was taken. You need to be on your way to Nigeria now. I saw the blue mark on WhatsApp, meaning that he read it and he was on the plane. But before Naira arrived, we saw Mohbad on a video the very next day. If anything happens to me, blame Naira Marley and Malian music. Something was going on in the house because we didn't understand why he was saying we should blame Naira Marley and Malian music. That was the first sign of the bullying issue. Now, reason why NDLEA needed that thing was because Tonto and Yabo were fielding out information that the NDLEA arrested Mohbad and they poisoned him. They gave him a drink because of a video that Mohbad was seen talking. That video was done in a hospital when Mohbad was bullied by Naira Marley and some other people. Oh no. So he ended up in the hospital with high blood pressure and all. That was 5th of October, 2022. Raid, February. On the 5th of October 2022, while Nigerians did nothing, while nobody in the industry did nothing, while the police did nothing, I was the one engaging Mohbad live on Twitter. The tweets are there. 5th of October. I was saying, what happened? Blah, blah, blah. Your blood pressure is a little high. Then I added a doctor who is a friend of mine, Dr. MK, on Twitter. I said, MK, look at this boy's blood pressure machine. What do you see? He said, oxygen saturation is very low. Only a power moina. At the end of the last tweet I put was that Naira Marley letoi. It's still there. You can go and look at it on Twitter. I was the only one that intervened in the entire industry. Everybody kept quiet. I won't come and say, won't bully. Iyabo Joe was aware that Mohbad was being bullied because Polo told her. And that boy did not want to come back after the Manchester concert. He told Polo he wants to file asylum in the UK. And Polo said he can't do it so. Now, let's go back to the death. So on the 15th, when I gave the NDLEA information, Marwa sent an email to me, the chairman, and he said he has requested from the Lagos office the list of the people that were arrested on that day. When the list came, the list was forwarded to me as well. And the list had everyone's name in the Malian house except Ilerioluwa Oladimeji Aloba. He was not arrested. So the NDLA was vindicated. The drink that they said they gave him, that's rehab. In rehab, I'm also a pharmacist, so that helped them. In rehab, you have to have a mixture of drugs that they give you. On can describe in cotton phone. Okay, what they gave you is not the same thing as they will give another patient. Everybody has different levels of drugs inside them. So Yabo and Tonto escalated that as if the NDLA poisoned them. So Marwa was not having it with defamation, with the kind of work Marwa has done. He called the DSS. These are things I couldn't tell you before. Marwa called the DSS and got them involved. Sanwo-Olu now tweeted that the DSS has now joined the case. They almost arrested Iyabo and Tonto. Chinchini. When DSS arrests you, they will not let you go for 2 years. Chinchini, they would have arrested those two. They were very lucky, especially Tonto, because they defamed the chairman. Honestly, if you know who's involved in this case, the National Security Advisor had to really intervene and everything. So on the 15th, when I finished with the DSS and the NDLA, I now worked with them when I began with them on the 15th, they had exhumed Mohbad. Okay, Dr. Olufunmilayo was the one that instigated the exhumation. It was not Iyabo Ojo. Iyabo's fans are always trying to give her credit for one thing or the other. Iyabo did not have Mohbad exhumed. It was Dr. Olufunmilayo. If you know Dr. Olufunmilayo, that physician that was in London, Olufunmilayo said, why did they rush and bury Mohbad? Why was an autopsy not done? The problem is that people didn't understand the reason why the boy was rushed. People did not want him in the mortuary. His mother-in-law and his common law wife did not want him in the mortuary because they rigged him. They rigged him with a cocktail of drugs, and they wanted to hide that. That was the reason why they didn't want that boy in the mortuary and denied the father a death certificate and a police report. What he rigged a cocktail full of drugs, already. That's why that man had to go and bury the child. Now, that being said, Olufunmilayo was the one that instigated that thing because Lagos State government replied him right on the tweet and they decided to exhume Mohbad. Iyabo just tried to, this is what they do in Nigeria. They hijack somebody else's hard work and they claim it as theirs. Okay, so now Mohbad was exhumed, taken to a mortuary, and they said they will do an autopsy. So I started work with the NDLA on the 15th, and we finished on the 30th, 2 weeks, 15th to the 30th. And the NDLA wrote a final letter to the police saying, this is what we have to say, we have been exonerated, and that was the end of their own part and the DSS. On the 30th of September, I did a 60-day comprehensive investigation. I interviewed 5 people who were witnesses. I said everything that happened, and I mentioned the CC camera at the door of the house, which they told the police wasn't working. It was fully working, and everything it captured went inside that phone. The phone that Mohbad owned. Mohbad's iPhone had an iCloud server, and the clip went into there. Whoever Spending is, Ayobami, somebody called Spending Sha, that person is the only person that knows the password to the iCloud server. So it was either him that deleted it or Wumi, but the phone went to Wumi after Mohbad died. The phone showed up at Bosede's house, and Wumi went back to steal the phone at Bosede's house because they knew there was something in there. Now, somewhere down the line, when I mentioned the iCloud server, we could have given them the clues. That's how it works. While you're trying to explain things to the world, you accidentally give them clues, and they know, Kemi Olunloyo is talking about that iCloud server. Let's just go and look at it now, erase it. Now, at the end of the day, VDM came in when the whole story about the child started. Okay, I was the one that first mentioned the child because of the content of the interview I had with someone in the house. In your compound concert, that person came to the house with them. Okay, I did 3 hours live with Prime Boy. I did a lot of interviews live. I did some behind that you don't know, but somebody that went to the concert with them and went to the house with them said the argument started over a child. The child and the Canadian visa started all this in the car. Okay. When they started this fight, they got into the car. Prime Boy put his bag in the car. The fight got elevated and they sped off. without Prime Boy. Prime Boy said he told Cubana Chief Priest, my bag is in the car, how am I going to go? Cubana Chief Priest told him to wait, that when we finish cleaning up, I will drop you there. When he called Wumi about the bag, we're coming to get the bag, Wumi told him not to come to the house because something had already happened. The fight happened on top of the step, and the people that witnessed the fight spoke to me. Okay? They have very toxic fights, and this particular fight, Mohbad actually fought for his life. And the fighting for your life and punching and trying to get away from Wumi is why you saw all those bumps and swelling on Wumi's forehead at the grave when they were burying Mohbad. So at the end of the day, they thought they got rid of Mohbad. They even threw Ado inside. Do you know what Ado is? Does anybody know what Ado is? Ado, one black thing like this that they use like a pot for juju. They threw Ado into his grave, they buried him, and they thought they got away with murder. Unfortunately, what happened on that step culminates to a metal object. They're saying is the railing, a metal object stabbed Mohbad in the neck. And it was totally an accident. And when you have an accident, that's second-degree murder, manslaughter. I have finished my investigation in 60 days, and then I wrapped it up. I did a report, 8 pages, and I sent it to CP Owoha. He did not reply me for a month. Then I replied him, I messaged him, I said, Owoha, what about my report? Then they told me that he's gone. CPO Wonha has gone to the Interpol and is retired and all that stuff. He's at the Interpol. Okay, who is the person in charge now? Where's DCP Ayilara? He's the head of Kbanti. He's the lead officer in the homicide team. I worked as a volunteer with Toronto Police. You guys saw what Toronto Police wrote when Harper was deporting me from Canada. Toronto Police said I helped them solve 13 murders. Not only in Toronto, but in other jurisdictions. Peel region, everything. I know this job. How can I not solve a homicide in Nigeria? At the end of the day, the whole thing about the DCP was he was the head of the homicide team that they wrote in the beginning. Where is Ayilara? The power struggle in Lagos Police Command was so bad that Ayilara wanted to be the next CP, but they will not put him as the next CP. So to satisfy him, Egbetokun promoted him and took him to Akwa Ibom so that he can be called CP. I mean, this thing is like do or die. So they moved him to Akwa Ibom, CP. That's when the Mohbad investigation totally broke down and nothing was happening. Okay? And 2003 ended. We got back into 2024, and then they were telling us the toxicology test was in America. There was no toxicology test done. Some people protested. They went to the lab. They said they wanted to see more. They now messed up by taking the story to an American angle, which made those guys in America go call local reporters, and they went to protest in front of the lab. We found out the lab belongs to the guy that's doing forensic for them in Lagos. Unlotuni Lab America. What I found out was that the toxicology test and the autopsy that was released in March or April of last year by Cable NG was fake. Cable NG is a fake news organization. I don't care what you tell me. You cannot compare Cable NG to Premium Times or Sahara Reporters. These guys running Cable NG, they were paid by someone very, very prominent. Okay, it's ready for everybody. Yes, 3 Nigeria is ready for me. Okay, 3 days local. Sherry NT or someone from Cable NG. Last, he come up with a fake toxicology test and a fake report. Failed. I went on Daddy Freeze and I said, Freeze, what is this? We can't have this kind of drugs in somebody's body. They've been under the ground for 7 days. The toxicology test they had in May of last year had acetaminophen, the American name for paracetamol. I'm a pharmacist. They had diphenhydramine injection, 50 milligrams. Talofumobad in diphenhydramine, 50 milligrams in Nigeria. We don't market it. Nigerians were arguing, saying, I don't know what I'm saying. Diphenhydramine is sold in Nigeria. Diphenhydramine is not sold in Nigeria on its own entity. It only exists in cough syrups, okay, and cold medicines in 12.5 and 25 milligram. It does not exist like Benadryl in America. The injection 50 milligram, we do not use it clinically in Nigeria. You can call any physician and they will tell you that. Nigeria started arguing, abusing me. At that point, I had to leave Daddy Freeze. Freeze came to me in the DM begging me to come back. Me, I want your tongue ready for people that don't like the truth. I can't be doing that. My time is precious. People pay me for these kind of things in America to come on shows and all that. At the end of the day, it was fake. Cable NG didn't say a word. Lagos State government didn't say a word. Wumi did not say a word. If your husband dies and a toxicology test comes out after 5 months and the whole of Nigeria is excited, won't you have a press conference and talk to the media? Wumi said nothing. Abosede said nothing. Instead, Bosede was granting interviews to Punch, crying her eyes out there. There was a conspiracy. They knew the truth. And what Bosede is doing is Bosede is protecting her son, Adura, and her daughter-in-law, Wumi, from prosecution. We have seen that many times in the United States. Okay? Until family starts turning in family, the world can never be a better place. So at the end of the day, Cable NG didn't say a word. We let May, June, July, August, September. In October, Lagos State government had a news conference. The DPP had his news conference. At one prior news conference, where a reporter was asking Sanwo-Olu, what about the Mohbad's case? Sanwo-Olu was rude to the reporter. You all saw that. Then, the DPP's briefing in October of 2024 said, we are going to announce about the Mohbad case soon. We have received the toxicology test from America. Kilo yeki Nigerian media ma biri. Nigerian MSN is owned by the mainstream media in Nigeria. The MSN is owned by the politicians and the businessmen. Tinubu owns TVC. Okay. Dokwesi owns AIT. All right. The Awolowas own the Tribune. Who else is there? John Momo, businessman, owns Channels News. Because they're all friends, right? The mainstream media employees there are supposed to be asking the DPP, Director of Public Prosecution, excuse me, sir, did you just say that you just got the toxicology from America? Then which one was released in April by Cable NG? Nobody questioned them. Nobody asked for transparency. At the end of the day, this is where we are. What did the man say? October, we will release it soon, in a matter of weeks. November passed, December passed, January passed, we're in February, and they haven't done anything. However, because I technically retired on my 25th anniversary in 2019, I came back. I retired officially on my 30th anniversary in February 9th, 2024. I now announce again, guys, I'm coming back again because of Mohbad's case.
Dr. Kemi.
Kamilara.
Dr. Kemi.
Yeah, first thing you're going to, if you call, Pennsylvania, they did a toxicology test. If you call Channel 6 in Harrisburg or Action News in Philadelphia, the first thing the producer is going to tell you, assignment editor, hello, hi, can I speak to the assignment editor? Yeah, hi, how can I help you? What's the story? It's a music artist in Nigeria. His name is Mohbad. He's very popular. A lot of the music artists in America actually tweeted on his death, and he has a lot of fans in America. And how does he relate to our market? Okay, you're in Philadelphia. There's a lot of Nigerians there. They love Mohbad. It's a big story. I can tell you would go viral if you cover it on Action News. And Action News came to the lab, and because of that lab angle,
put it on the big screen. I just want to show this.
Ayilara, who was promoted to CP Ayilara of Akwa Ibom State. Okay? Ayilara suddenly died in the middle of everything. We just woke up and we heard Ayilara died. The CP of Akwa Ibom died of prostate cancer. And that was it. The minute I heard that Ayilara died, the first thing that came to my mind is, did they kill him? It came to my mind. Did they kill him? When Ayilara died, they buried him. There was no big fanfare.
That was shocking, Dr. Kemi.
Yeah, it was shocking.
In fact, Nigerians did not know they lost a big...
Take to the grave. What secrets did he take to the grave? Where it gets funny is the email. Did you see the email? Do you know about the email? Check the source. That is an ethic of journalism. Okay, a journalist was fined $1 million per day if he did not reveal the source in 1995. He did not.
Wow.
We went on strike for 1 day. Do you know what it means one day without media?
Which country was that?
America, United States. Do you know what it means with before internet?
Only in America.
1995. Do you know what it means if all the media strike for 1 day in America? We went on strike for 1 day. Shootings everywhere in Chicago. No police scanners, nothing, because we are supporting our colleague. You must protect the source. You could be the source. Papa Riano, if a police officer tells you something, somebody woke me up and told me Abakiari was dead. He died of COVID in that hospital. And the person said, please protect me. Don't say my name. Sure you get. And it was exclusive news. Who reported it? Was it not me? Was it not me that told Nigerians that COVID is now in Nigeria and BBC called me? I have broken a lot of stories. You have to protect the source. You can't post everything. But I received this email and it was not fake. It was the police handle. The person said, please, Madam Kemi, I just thought you should see this. Have you guys seen what happens when you die? Those videos on TikTok, when you die, nobody remembers anything. You are just a picture on the wall. They will replace you at work. They will clean your table out. That is what happened here. While they were cleaning Ayilara's computer, they found an email. A police officer cleaning that thing found an email with my name on it. The email was from Ayilara to the top cop. And it says, Kemi Olunloyo is the best investigative journalist in Nigeria. She has possibly solved the case. That is all that email said. Ayilara wrote it to the top cop. Did they act on it? No, they didn't. No, first solve case. They don't want to solve this case. They did not act on it.
Dr. Kemi, when you go in that route, then you are telling us that we that were following Yomi were literally in a limbo. Because you said something when you were about to kill.
Anywhere. Yomi is not getting anywhere. You know why? Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Let me tell you why. Adura is a distraction, and he caused that distraction to distract everybody. The Adura section of it is a distraction that was created by Adura. Do you understand me? That is all it is. They are nervous. They know that the thing has got to the end. You know what I mean? They know the case has got to the end.
Dr. Kemi, bí Yomi ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ nísìn, I think because he has mingled with some of the law enforcement, they didn't call you out. It's not easy to call the police out. When you constantly call them out, I think something in them makes them want to do the right thing. And no, I'm not sure if we're on the right path. Because in tí mo rí lórí ọ̀dọ̀ Sowore yẹn, ó bà mí lọ́kàn jẹ́ gan. Because tó bá jẹ́ pé
the Sowore one is totally different. We've gone through that with Tafa Balogun and all that. The people we're dealing with now are Gen Z kids here, Mohbad fans. And this is how I was trained. I'm 60 years old. I was trained in journalism when I was 29. We're dealing with young people who are Mohbad's fans here. They are the audience that have to get justice. Not these big cops. What I'm now telling you is that Adura's stuff is a distraction. Yomi is not getting anywhere because of me. Continue right pe Yomi ni. Mo ti wá sórí show it twice. Mo fẹ́ pe in private. Could drop everything. Nigeria is a dangerous country. You see what happened to what's his name? You see what happened to Showore's colleague,
Dr.
our friend,
Dr. Kemi,
Samuel Ogundipe.
Calm down.
Already done all these things.
I advise you on me, Dr. Kemi. I know you are so much.
They are all fighting over. Should not even be an issue. The issue is the police. They are not willing to solve Mohbad's case. If Mohbad will not get... There are people who have died in this world that didn't get justice. But let me tell you something. Maybe they got the justice with karma. However, solving Mohbad's case involves the police very critically in two areas. Area one, when I went to Al Jazeera, Washington Post, Washington, all the media in the international realm, let me just use Al Jazeera. When I called Al Jazeera producers and the BBC ones, let's do a show on the stream. Okay, Mohbad's a split screen, 4 of us. Mohbad's father, Yomi Fabi, Dr. Kemi. Who do you think the 4th person on the screen should be? Talking to the host. It should be the police. Do you understand me? It should be the police.
Definitely.
But the police has refused. Before Al Jazeera...
Why have they refused? But Yomi belongs to another police station. Belongs to another...
They don't come. Al Jazeera cannot run the story. Why? Because they can be sued by Wumi. They can be sued heavily by Wumi, Adura, everybody. That is the problem why we can't get Mohbad's story internationally. The second thing which concerns police is the Apple footage. The iCloud server. I brought this thing up very early in the case. okay? Because there is a footage of Wumi going in and out that thing captured. And Wumi agreed with everybody in the house that they would tell the police when they come that the thing was not working. And it was working. That footage is in the iCloud server. I want to delete it. But server Apple. It's a problem to one year. You see servers, right? Law enforcement and investigative journalists, they have access to certain things in journalism. Okay? If you go to Twitter, all right.
Hello, Dr. Kemi. Hello, Dr. Kemi. Good day.
Listen to me. If you go to Twitter, X, and you go to Instagram's account on Twitter, okay, at Instagram, look at the bio, what it says. If you are on a deadline, journalist or whatever, contact this email. There's something also on WhatsApp. When Bamishe was killed inside a BRT bus, I was the one that got every single WhatsApp message. The last message that this girl was crying, saying that this bus driver is shadowing her and turning the lights off, everything. I was the one that got those. Journalists can get things like that from WhatsApp, encrypted or not encrypted. Did you hear the announcement today? The CIA can request
now that you mentioned journalists,
especially journalists that have law enforcement, investigative journalists. What I did for Bamishe, I could not do it for Mohbad with Apple. Apple is only going to release the server in a criminal investigation to police, no journalists. Now, when the police comes forward, they must have a good reason of wanting that footage. You know what happened in the US military, right? The guy that killed everybody at Fort Bragg? That guy that killed everybody.
Just shot everybody with an AK.
Do you remember that his iPhone, when the iPhone got to the FBI, do you guys vividly remember that when the iPhone got to the FBI told Apple to open that iPhone and Apple refused?
They had to.
No, they refused. Do you remember?
Apple refused to give out that information.
Apple did not open that iPhone because the FBI wanted to know what the activity of this guy was. Baba, he shot almost 15 people now. Psychologists, PTSD, Loni. And PTSD with military people can be fatal. He went and shot everybody to death in a mass shooting. They took the phone to Apple and Apple refused to. So if Nigerian police is coming from somewhere and say, please, we need you to give us this footage. If Nigerian police say it's a murder that was caught on this server, they will give it to them, but nobody else can get it. Nigerian police has not requested for that footage.
Dr. Kemi,
you just confirmed. 2023, Nimotin suffered police request footage.
Police nìkan ló lè gba iCloud Mohbad right now as we are standing.
Àwọn nìkan ló lè gba footage lọ́dọ̀ Apple.
Ó mà ṣe.
Àwọn tó ní footage yẹn wọ́n ti delete lórí phone ni. One Ayobami person, or spending, I don't know the names, but any Nicoloni password, iCloud.
He had a login.
The phone was with Wumi, and then Wumi gave the phone to the mother. Then Wumi went back to the mother's house to steal the phone. According to Abosede, in her Punch interview, Wumi came to steal, not to get the phone, to steal the phone back. So, iCloud server, until then it can be deleted, but Oshiwa in Apple server. This is how the Biomi case was dismissed. Okay, people didn't want to report because Kennedy Okoko Kunsi only saw come report it. Journalists in 100,000 each. 100,000 was a lot of money in 2017. That is what happened in the Biomi case. Okay, the Biomi lawyer said I was the one that wrote the whole thing. I said I didn't write anything. It was sent to me as a news tip. So Instagram now, they took my phone. The police took my phone while I was in the prison. They had seized the phone since they arrested me in Ibadan and kidnapped me to Port Harcourt. They now deleted the message. You see what the police did? They went into my Instagram, deleted the message. So it will look as if nobody sent you anything. Here you get. Unfortunately, we had Constable Scott Mills in Toronto Police, who I work for in social media division. It was my son that called him in Toronto. I said, my mom is locked in prison. Scott called them. And from there, Instagram was told that a journalist is in prison in Nigeria. And there was a message, 8 pages, that was sent to her about a pastor and an actress, and she believes the police has deleted it from her phone. So they're trying to use it in court, saying, Kemi, you wrote it to yourself with fake account. Guess what Instagram did? Instagram went and changed my password. So when the police opened my phone, you have been logged out. Shall you see what happened? After changing my password, Instagram gave the new password to the officer in Toronto, who now gave it to my son. And guess what they did? They took the message in their server and they put it back in my inbox. Ojo yẹn ni mo mọ̀ pé when you delete email goes into trash. The only way to bring it back is to move it back to the inbox. But people think that when you delete Twitter, Instagram, or any other email is gone. It's in their server.
Dr. Kemi.
Wọ́n log wọn out. Wọ́n á gbé message yẹn padà sínú inbox mi. Ìgbà tí message yẹn wá wọ inbox mi, lawyer mi wá rí mi in prison. Ó lóun máa print it out. Bá a ṣe gbé lọ sí court ni a dẹ̀ delete. The federal judge dismissed the case. So in the magistrate court, the BOM's lawyers had to withdraw the case. But everybody's like, oh, she went to his church to go and beg and everything. Please, the only problem we have now is...
Dr. Kemi, you need to help your... Báwo ni your mission?
But at the same time, it's not. Àdúrà nìkan kọ́ ló ní footage. Oh, nìkan kọ́ ló ní footage kan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ nínú yẹn. There are other people, but all of them still don't see. People have moved on. A lot of people have moved on. And
Dr. Kemi.
Yeah?
Dr. Kemi. Can I now say
behind Mohbad's case? I just can't tell you who it is yet. There will be a time where I will tell it. Yeah. And when I tell it, they will want to give me the Farotimi treatment. I can't return to Nigeria because of many reasons. Because many things have exposed.
Dr. Kemi, you don't need to